What up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Autotempest.com. Autotempest is a brilliant piece of software that searches all the major used car listing sites in the U.S., plus a bunch of the smaller ones too. And then it even lets you compare with results from all of Craigslist, not just the area around you. You see, Autotempest takes that annoying, repetitive task of typing in your exact search requirements over and over and over into a million different car sites, and it brings them together into one place. So you only have to type in all that stuff once. Autotempest does all the actual legwork for you. It's fantastic, and it is no problem at all. Autotempest.com has been a great sponsor of us for many, many years, and we really appreciate their support. So when you're looking for a car, whether you're just browsing around the internet, whether you actually want to buy or whether you actually want to sell, Autotempest.com is there for you. All the cars, one search. We are also brought to you by the Thinkware Dash Cam. The U1000, folks, Thinkware's best and latest dash cam. The U1000 is now finally available, able to capture clear and crisp videos of your drive. The U1000 is the very first 2-channel dash cam in the world to boast a native 4K UHD front and a 2K UHD rear resolution. In addition to its amazing video quality, the U1000 can save you money with its speed and red light camera alerts, or make you a safer driver with lane departure and front collision warnings. With the convenient remote live view and parking impact alert cloud features, you can instantly check on your car or be notified of potential hit and runs. The U1000 and Thinkware's full range of dash cams are available online and in-store at thinkware.com, Best Buy, and Amazon in both the US and Canada. But with coupon code SMOKE20, that's SMOKE20, you will receive 20% off any regular priced Thinkware dash cam. That's SMOKE20, and go to thinkware.com to redeem the coupon at checkout. Code SMOKE20 at thinkware.com, US and Canada only, for that U1000 dash cam. And we're brought to you by Blue Driver. The Blue Driver scan tool is the easiest and most effective way to understand your vehicle. Just plug the Blue Driver sensor into your car or truck, open the Blue Driver app on your phone, and boom! In seconds, you're learning about any issues your vehicle might have. Not only will Blue Driver tell you why your check engine light is on, it can find hidden issues that can normally only be detected by professional mechanics' tools. Best of all, once you discover a problem, Blue Driver will suggest verified fixes for the issue. Then, you can either fix the problem yourself or head to the garage armed with knowledge. Either way, you are going to save time and money. Blue Driver is powerful enough for a mechanic, but easy enough for anyone to use. That's why it's the best-selling scan tool on Amazon. Order one for yourself or give one as a gift, because the holidays are just around the corner, and Blue Driver makes a great gift for the auto enthusiast or DIYer in your life. For a limited time, take advantage of our special Smoking Tire offer. Visit bluedriver.com/TST. That's bluedriver.com/TST and get 10% off the Blue Driver today at bluedriver.com/TST. Lastly, we got RaceChip, folks. RaceChip optimizes your forced induction automobile, meaning if you've got a turbocharged car or a supercharged car, chances are the factory has left power on the table. With RaceChip, you can get increases in power and torque of up to 30% with better fuel economy at the other end of it. That's how good computers are, folks. It is designed and made in Germany with tons of testing on the dyno, the track, and the Autobahn for every single RaceChip sold. All your engine protection mechanisms remain active, so there is no modification of the ECU itself and therefore very low risk. It's approved by the German TÜV with up to 5-year warranty and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Go to racechip.us, that's RACECHIP.us, racechip.us, and use code SMOKINGTIRE for 10% off your order. Code SMOKINGTIRE will get 10% off your order at racechip.us. All right, folks, on this episode, it's just me and Zach in studio talking a lot about my week with the Tesla Model 3 Performance, also about some other stuff that we've been driving, the Road and Track Performance Car of the Year, and taking your questions. It's the Crew Show, me and Zach on the Smoking Tire Podcast.
Brad Brownell had pretty good coverage on Jalopnik.
So did Bozy.
Some interesting stuff. Or he went too?
No, but he just looked at people's pictures and picked out engineering failures, I think. I don't think he was there. What's up, people? It's allegedly the Smoking Tire Podcast. Zach, where did your office keys go?
Don't know.
You lost your whole keychain?
Yep. Not my. I have them separated from my car keys and stuff. Mm-hmm. No idea.
Just gone.
Look for them a little bit. Don't have time to look for them a lot of bit, but I definitely looked in a lot of places where they should be.
Yeah.
And I was like,
not there.
Huh. Now I don't have any answers for this.
Well, I'll give you my keys, and you can have them over the weekend. Does your headphones sound weird? I just had a weird thing in my headphones.
I just sound quiet to myself.
I had a weird thing. Oh, it might be this headphone port. I don't know. I'll deal with it later. As long as, if it sounds fine to you, then I'll assume it's headphones.
Sounds good to me. How does it sound to the people?
I don't know. Hi, everybody. How y'all doing? It's a beautiful day outside. I am dealing with one of the most bizarre clusterfucks. Can we talk about construction for just a second? So get this, right? You have to get power to the building from the pole. Duh, right? Power has to come in to the building from the pole. You can either do that on a wire, or you do it by digging underground. We have to dig underground. Okay, so you dig up the alley, not the main road, but the alley behind the building. You have to dig a trench like, 18 inches wide or so. Run the wires underground and sink this like transformer box there, right? It's not very big. It's like the size of a couple of shoe boxes, right? So seemingly like no big deal, right? The city, who issues permits for this, has said that Edison, the power utility, Southern California Edison, that it's their responsibility to dig the trench. Okay. Edison goes,
oh boy.
No, it's the customer's responsibility to dig the trench, not ours. Okay. Well, we believe it's Edison's responsibility because that's what the city says, and they're the authority. But in the interest of getting shit done, we're willing to dig the trench. Okay? So we tell the city, Edison doesn't want to dig the trench. We're going to dig the trench. City goes, nope, you're not a licensed utility contractor. You can't work on power lines like that. Only Edison can dig the trench.
Well, is that like a safety thing? Like you can't hire a contractor to dig into the ground because if they hit the line,
right,
etc. Okay.
Something to that effect.
Right.
You can't do it, meaning us. We can't do it. So Edison's got to do it. Edison then says, we're not doing it. So we have now been around that circle 3 times.
No shit.
These permits were filed in August. And we have been able to get things done while we're waiting. You know what I mean? Like we've been able to like finish the sprinkler system and put in the stairs and do all this other shit.
Paper, right.
Do all this other shit. But now we're at a point where we can't finish the elevator and we can't finish the sprinkler system or the plumbing system because we're having the same exact issue simultaneously with Golden State Water, our water company, who needs to lay a pipe in the same alley like 6 feet from where the utility has to be, where the power has to be dug.
And you have to cut a trench.
Yeah. And we that fucking infinite loop we're in with Edison, we're in the same one with Golden State Water.
Wow.
Just 2 fucking whirlpools round and round and round and round and round.
But there's so much stuff built in the city. Mm-hmm. Like
in theory,
like someone
it did
would have
get
the
done.
answer to this. Right, yeah.
In theory, this shit got built somehow.
I mean, how many times do you have to go around?
Like, does everybody who builds anything have a total fucking aneurysm and feel like they're like about to lose everything because like the city just has a complete go fuck yourself attitude to it?
Are there any like the location consultant? Well, that's what I was thinking of. Are there any building consultants?
There
that you
are.
can hire
I
to,
mean,
like, as a liaison. I know they probably charge a lot of money.
I don't know what they charge,
annoying.
but my attorney has just hooked me up with somebody who I have an initial call with that that I've explained the situation to, and he's like, "Oof." It's real complicated. This shit is crazy. I don't know.
There's a certain
I'd like
point,
to not build anything
it's like,
anymore.
well, I mean, you have a contractor who I assume has done this stuff before.
Yeah, but they're everyone is flabbergasted by this.
Really? Wow.
I mean, this is straight up. It's straight up Edison stonewalling, and the city refusing to explore any other option. It's just like no. Well, what? Like, what do you mean?
Can you CC both people on an email and be like,
the emails aren't working. My super Rick, who's a rock star, and he's confident that he's like, here's what happens. The second we're like 6 days away from being at a point where it's like where we're stalled because of this. On day 5, you owner are going to have to make a phone call to these people and explain how much money you're about to lose and how much you paid in taxes before you're even open for business, and yada and on and on and on and on. And then they're going to come through at the last minute and play the hero like they got it done. He said that is how buildings get built in Los Angeles.
Sometimes that's how permits get made too for production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm sorry, folks, that we opened with 10 minutes of construction. But this is what I've been dealing with the last, bit. And
I mean, the world is very complicated, and there's like many people in these entities that have to control things.
Yeah.
And if they're not all on point and you're not on point and someone sends I don't know, it's just it's a little tiny chip of something away from just like falling apart.
Yes, and any big company, no, it doesn't matter, the big company, small company, doesn't matter. What matters is the one human that you are dealing with. Mm-hmm. Because often, it's not like a let me speak to your manager situation. Even it's like the person. What is that other person's motivations to help you or not help you, and how is that affecting what is going to go on? Like, dude, same shit at the DMV, same shit anywhere, on a customer service call, on the phone with Delta, whatever. Like, it's that human. How does that human feel about you and how you're dealing with them? And that's how they're going to treat your case.
Yeah.
So pretty soon I'll have to make the phone call where it's like, bro, and the number's crazy. I'm
sure
the number is fucking crazy.
Like when you stop, when everything halts for a moment.
Yeah, if we halt, I lose like somewhere around a minivan every week.
Which class of minivan?
Like a pretty good minivan.
Stripped out caravan?
No, pretty stout minivan. One with like a vacuum in it. And a nice Odyssey.
I was getting film permits.
Is it my headphones, by the way? I feel like I'm like my gain or something is fucking up, but I'm listening. I have $20 headphones on. Is my gain?
Your gain was high because Ben was here and he was quiet. I'm turning it down.
Okay.
Is this better?
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, folks, if my gain was up a little bit, but So anyway, these are the things, and
I was trying to get permits for a place once, and in this city, I don't want to name it. Like most of the city was perfect, amazing, friendly, helpful.
Put your fucking self on camera when you talk. You fucking savage. There we go.
One entity.
You don't get to avoid being on camera. It's my job to get to avoid.
Someone
being
said
on camera.
honestly in the comments, like put Zach on camera more, or we riot. But this one entity was being absolutely horrible, didn't give a fuck, not helpful at all, and I ended up having to email like the Chamber of Commerce. I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I'm just hitting up people that help bring businesses to this. And then, 2 days later, I started getting email responses. But like you said, it just depends on one person, whether or not they want help.
Do you remember my DeLorean?
Yeah.
Do you remember that it took 10 months to get it registered?
Yes, that was a nightmare.
And it took 10 trips to the DMV. And the only way I actually got it registered eventually, because every time I would go to the DMV, they would say I needed this one more thing. But what they wouldn't say was that I really needed 4 more things, but they just told me 1. Mm-hmm. Like,
yeah.
And they kept doing that. And every time I would go, I'd be like, no one told me I needed this other thing. And they would give me well, I don't know who you spoke with last time. You know what I mean? Just no accountability. Eventually, I figured out, I forgot who helped me with it, but I got like the chairman of the DMV in Sacramento. Like, I got the actual
the Surgeon General of the DMV.
Yeah.
What would it be? The DMV Post Office General.
Yes, basically.
I hear you have a problem registering your DeLorean.
It might have been called chairman, and I just was like, look, I want to do this very basic thing, and they're just not letting me do it. Like, here's what I want to do. Here's everything. And I got a FedEx like a day later or 2 days later that was like a notarized letter from the chairman of the DMV that was like, register this car.
Wow.
It was just like, do this, whatever
like
this
guy
wants.
found me, which means this is a big problem. What the fuck is happening?
And then I went in and they were like, where did you get this?
It's got like the wax pressed with his seal.
I was like, fuck you.
Like he's a Middle Ages or something.
I win, you fuck. Because that car was off the road. Remember, it was off the road for 29 years. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to use the original California blue plates, which it still had on it, and so that to get it back on the road when it was off the road, but never it was never like registered non-op or any of that. It was just like the guy I bought it from literally like got upside down on the car and just like stashed it. It was a fucking crazy
They're
story.
just like, I'm sorry, Mr. Fair, this car doesn't exist.
Yeah, like kind of. And so then to get it registered and titled, and then to get it registered on those original plates was a fucking nightmare. Yeah. Car's now in Germany. I've heard the people have spotted it on the California plates in Germany, which is a bold move for Germany. They don't fuck around over there.
I don't know what the rules are there. Maybe it's like everything's just RFID tagged or something because it's so advanced and it doesn't even matter.
I think it's probably very charming to see something like that on the road in Germany, and maybe the cops in your local village. It's somewhere in Bavaria.
Well, it's like, I mean, here people run Euro plates in the front because they just think, I never got
did
into
that on my S4 back in the day. Yeah, I mean, like, we're talking 2005.
That's when it was cool.
Yeah,
That's
it was
true.
when I don't
That's
want
when
to
you
say,
were the age that it was, yeah, you know? That's what it is. Because everyone still thinks it's cool, but I remember being in my 20s with reading VW magazine, and everyone's like, oh, you got the Euro plate in the front.
Right, exactly. Mid-2000s, I was in my early 20s, and it went together. And I had the Euro plate made of the same... of my actual plate.
No shit.
Yeah, I just got one made that had the actual plate on it, and so like I even asked a couple cops who were customers at the time. I was like, well, "Is this sketchy?" And they're like, "I wouldn't give you a ticket for it, but like whatever."
I wonder if a cop or someone would actually figure out that the numbers on it are real. Like with the back plate, your standard New York plate, and the front matched.
Yeah, the back was yeah.
Okay, that might work.
Yeah, and I don't recall if New York required a front at the time. I think it may have, but I think I didn't run one, and I think no one gave a shit. And then when I put the Euro plate on, still no one gave a shit. No one gave a shit about my sticker plate here in California.
I know.
On the Focus.
That amazed me.
That was fucking great.
It was a very good idea. I wasn't going to try it. I was like, it is a good idea.
No,
and
that one worked. That one, I mean, I don't want to say it was legal, but it definitely wasn't fully illegal. And yeah,
it was a plate thumbnail. That's what you'd made.
Yeah,
You'd made
and
a
it wasn't.
thumbnail.
It's not like I would say it's not a substitute for a front plate, but it's definitely a good substitute for not having anything, which is the other thing, which is what I would have done if
not having anything up front. You're just, as I know, like you're asking for it, so you can have something that doesn't drill holes. Like I drove Corbin's CTSV the other day, and there's no holes or no mounting system in the front of that car to mount a front plate. Like there's a lot of cars that just came that way or from a different state, and you don't want to punch holes in your bumper.
The law is you're supposed to. In California, the law is you're supposed to.
And some cars don't have a front tow hitch.
If I was him, I'd get a sticker.
You should do this.
Corbin is not the kind of person that needs to drive like heated. One crime at a time, people. Listen, one crime at a time is a philosophy that has kept. I don't know if it's probably been years since we've gone into the actual particulars of the one crime at a time philosophy. But one crime at a time, it's a simple sentence. It was conceived by Tom Morningstar, and Tom Morningstar is not in prison. That's all you need to know at this point. Tom probably should be in prison, but he's not, because he was smart enough to only ever commit one crime at a time. And this goes for your motoring violations as well. If you only committing one crime at a time, generally that crime is speeding. And of course that counts. All crimes count, no matter big or small.
Like don't speed while transporting a dolphin illegally.
Correct. One crime at a time.
Right.
And so that has never steered me wrong.
I got over that after being worried about like, oh, the window tint, or I don't want to get pulled over for this, or I'm in front plate, and just driving. I don't like driving nervous, and it adds a little stress. I don't need that shit.
Yeah.
No, just front plate on, tow hitch, fine. I don't care. Doesn't look as cool. That's true, but not really worth it. Doesn't matter.
It's okay.
My life won't change by taking the front plate off my car.
If there wasn't like an easy way for me to do it, I would do it, but there kind of isn't. So whatever. I don't really care.
Yeah, doesn't matter. Car works.
It's fine. You drive. The key really is to just drive invisibly. If you drive invisibly, no one will. No one looks at you weird. You're good. That Tesla gave it back yesterday. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of sad actually because I did enjoy it. It's such.
It's a good car.
If the job is running around Los Angeles, it is such the tool for the job. It's such the tool for the job.
I think it's a good highway car too.
It is a good highway car. Yeah, it's so quiet when you get there. It's just like you don't carry a key. I mean, as long as like that phone key thing.
Did that work? I didn't try it when I had one.
It worked for me.
Okay,
it did work for me, and I carried the card in my wallet as a backup. So you keep the card in the wallet, and that works even if your phone dies.
Right.
So that actually is a pretty good system, and it's just like fucking door open. And like as I'm sitting down, like the podcast slowly starts coming on, like quietly, like just Joe Rogan podcast, and it's the driver profiles. It's easy. You can just have like multiple different. It's just a nice it's a fucking toaster oven. You know what I mean? But it's a really nice toaster oven.
Yeah, it's a seamless experience.
Yeah,
and getting in and getting anywhere. Like the UI is really good.
It's more like a phone than like a car. In a lot of ways. But I did not like the radar cruise control is excellent. All of the semi-autonomous steering features, I hate. I thought they were terrible. I thought they worked. They're just like it was fine on the straightest, clearest highways only. I tried it on PCH. Like what a nightmare. And PCH is well marked.
True, that's true. The first bit of PCH from like here to Las Flores. It's got some tight turns and
yeah. It just
some,
in 20 minutes
it
it did two incredibly sketchy things that I was just like, you know what? It's just so much easier for me to just steer the car. Like being ready to catch this thing doing something stupid is so much more stressful than just steering.
That's true. That's a good point. Because you're reacting rather than being proactive. So you're watching, going, "Oh, I might have to catch this kid before it falls in the pool."
Or the alternative to that is even worse. The alternative is you get really complacent and you don't catch it. You don't think, "Oh my God, I'm going to need to catch this," because it's just good enough sometimes that you might be convinced it's better at driving than a decent driver, but it is not.
Well, and it works in so many places. Like I told you last time, we tried it in Georgia outside Atlanta on a really twisty, tight road for drive. And it worked. And it navigated this second gear, tight, twisty road really well. So I could see if you did that a lot and then you went if you got confident there, you would take that confidence to other places where it may not work as well. And then if you're reading, if you're distracted, you end up like in a ditch or whatever.
I think it's just good enough to make you really complacent and unready for when it inevitably fucks up. Mm-hmm. That's what makes me nervous. But the radar cruise was very good.
Yeah.
The front and the engagement of it, the way you like hit the stalk, I think like it actually made me use that a bunch more. Like I used the radar cruise on like Venice Boulevard. Like I used it in regular situations because it was easy to use and worked really well. But the steering, I only would use in the slowest of traffic jams, and even then I wasn't fully confident. But ignore that bullshit. As a car that you drive, it's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. I would not want to take like it's not like it's like fun in the canyons like once, but like it's not the tool for that job by any means. But like it's the tool for driving around the city like a complete piece of shit though. I mean, if you really want to drive like a piece of shit, there's no better car than a Tesla.
Stealthy. Stupid. It's a stealth bomber. You can go so fast and no one knows it's happening.
Yeah. No one is prepared for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one can react. Like you want that hole in traffic, you're getting it. Although the brakes not quite. The brakes are good, even on the performance as upgraded brakes. The brakes are good, but not really good enough to justify the acceleration. It's not quite in line with that level of acceleration.
Oh, okay. I drove it on Chuckwalla, which is a pretty flowing track, and
I didn't drive it on the track. I'm talking about one hard stop on the street, braking distance. I'm not talking about repeated fade
Well,
stuff.
that's what I'm saying is I never went like hard from 50 or 40 to 0, but it is like a 4,000-pound car.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
It's
heavy.
It's 4,000
It's real
pounds.
fast, so you're accelerating and everything.
Yeah. You know, the brakes are acceptable, but if you're gonna drive like a dick, which it totally allows you to do, and like dive bomb and all that kind of stuff, like you have to be aware of the fact. It's not like I'm not complaining. I'm just saying when you're driving it, you got to be aware of the fact that the brakes aren't quite as good as the acceleration will lead you to believe.
It's X fast. It's that fast.
Yeah.
Where a normal person could get in, and they may not be used to getting on brakes as hard as you need to get on brakes. Like if I just drive around the city for a while and I don't go to a track or like a heavy canyon day for a while, I kind of forget what 80% braking is like.
That's also true. I think when I say the brakes aren't quite good enough for the performance, I think if you actually stand on the pedal, they're pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
I think Motor Trend did 60 to 0 at 113 feet, which isn't horrible.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. But considering the acceleration is in line with cars that do it in 105 feet, it's not as good as it could be.
That's a good point.
And also, as it is with a lot of electric and hybrid cars, the brake pedal is a little mushy. So like what feels like 50% brake is really more like 30% brake, and you know what I mean? And so and I was also, when I did my video up in the canyons, I was able to engage ABS like a lot more than with other cars. ABS engaged like a lot. And I'm not saying that was bad or wrong, but I think for one reason or another, it really did use quite a lot of ABS in certain situations, which is unusual because my driving style generally doesn't hardly ever invokes ABS or traction control on the street.
Very true.
But nevertheless, like, forget the canyons and forget that stuff. Like, I wouldn't buy the fast one. I would buy the long range, like regular speed one, because it's still pretty quick.
The long range one, according to Consumer Reports, it stopped from 60 in 152 feet, which
that's long.
Very long.
That's long.
Motor Trend did 60 to 0 in 119, but that was with 19-inch sport rims and possibly performance model. But like 150 feet is really far for a car that's that fast.
I would guess that that model that Consumer Reports tested was a base motor with the most economical tires. And the Motor Trend one, if this is if that's taken from Motor Trend, then they did the performance.
This is on electric.co.
Fuck them. But the performance gets
PS4, right?
A special Pilot Sport 4S. It's a Tesla spec. It's not an off the rack one.
Oh, okay.
So it's got a harder rolling resistance for the center. And then it's got the grippy Michelin stuff on the outside.
Oh, that's pretty clever. God, they can do so much with tire tech.
Everyone is getting their own spec tire, dude. The R8 has the special PS4S AO, which is called Audi Originals. And then they have the TO on the Tesla, which is Tesla Original.
I was bitching about this because I thought it was silly because so many of the tire sizes are the same.
Yeah.
And then Sam and Travis were explaining like, well, if the engineers spend all this time and effort getting the suspension and the chassis and everything set up so perfectly in a certain way, and then the next thing they can tune is the tire, like, why wouldn't you do it? Especially if the tire companies kind of offer that ability now, which it seems like they do. It's
a great idea as long as you manage the supply and if you can get a flat, and if you get a flat and you can't get a new tire within a couple of days, that's where you have the problem.
Well, but what was the tire size on the R8? Like
the R8, the rears are 305 30/20 maybe.
Okay. Like, I wonder if there's two things, there's size and there's compound. So if it's a bespoke size that's really odd, then that would be very frustrating.
Well, no,
I don't
think so. And the wheels are never, the there's wheels 20s. 20 by 10, 20 by 10 and a half. Like they choose like a normal size wheel. They don't like make that hard on people. So I'm sure it's not a unique size for any of those cars. But the compounds matter. I guess.
They matter for optimal use, but like if I was in the middle of nowhere and they go, oh, well, we got to have a tire that fits, but it's not the right one, it's not coming up on the computer, I'd be like, put the thing on.
I mean, it probably wouldn't completely fuck you, but now you've bought two tires. Those tires are like $400 each. Now you got to buy two.
Right. Yeah. That'd be bad.
And now you have this off the rack one. You take it off. Who's going to buy one lightly used tire? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's the problem.
That creates $1,000 problem.
Yeah. I mean, no one has sympathy for the $200,000 supercar owner who's like, oh, I had to buy two tires. They're, okay, go fuck yourself. But like, that problem exists not just with supercars. There's plenty of cars that have unique spec tires in normal sizes.
Really, I feel like consumer tires, it's much more like, here's the tire review. There's 6 tires that fit. Get these different ones.
But
like
no. But like Corvette, for instance.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
that's a supercar tire, just not supercar prices.
No, the Corvette tires are really expensive.
No,
if you buy a set of tires for a
the
Vet,
car is not a supercar price.
Yeah, but like there's Miata doesn't have it, but like there's definitely cheaper sports cars that have their own tire spec. I think that's a good question. What is the cheapest car
that had to get its own compound?
That has to get its own compound? Like the Caymans do, I think. I'm gonna have to email a tire person. I'm gonna have to hit up somebody at Michelin and ask them. That's an interesting question. What is the cheapest car? If anyone is listening to this live or is later on Twitter or whatever and knows that you can think of the least expensive car that comes with its own unique tire compound from the factory, that would be an interesting question. Are there any cars under like 75 or 80 grand? That'll be one to ponder for later.
That'd be good to ask a tire rep.
Yeah. But anyway, I will actually miss that Tesla, and maybe one day me and Hannah would lease one of them or something.
Yeah.
It's a nice little city car.
Super nice car.
Yeah. And if my mom takes our free Jaguar back.
In their story, I was talking about Faraday Future yesterday with somebody.
Oh yeah.
And it just brought up like, there's so many new car companies every 6 months that pop up on the internet and are talking. Then they're electric because it's easier to make an electric powertrain or buy one really than to develop your own gas powertrain. But if you look at how popular Teslas are and they're still having trouble making money as a company, how much harder would it be to come in with something odd like the Faraday Future car was very strange, and you're going to come in and try to upset the same thing or make the money? I mean, it's a really challenging thing to do. There's
actually an argument that Ed Niedermeyer makes in his book, and Ed Niedermeyer is coming on the podcast soon, November 20 something. He's coming like in 2 weeks. Niedermeyer's going to be here, which I'm really excited for. And there's something in his book that basically like one of the biggest flaws of Tesla as a company is that one of the biggest mistakes that Elon made was ever attempting to position their cars as a mass market affordable thing. If he really leaned into it's a high performance tech toy for rich people, he would possibly have better margins on the car, not be constantly because people buy Model X's. Model X's are a complete waste of money, and they're like $150,000, and people buy those.
At least, yeah.
You know what I mean? You'd be forgiven some of your flaws. I mean, think about boutique exotic car makers are forgiven many flaws in exchange for the amazing things that they do. And they wouldn't have all these pressures of building, 1 million cars a year or whatever the target goal is, because they could be like, nah, like we're just gonna make $30,000 or $40,000 on every car we sell because they're expensive rich people toys, and we're gonna make lesser of them, but there's gonna be and I think that strategy there's an argument anyway that strategy would have served them much better as a company than
possibly
what they're actually doing.
They may not have been able to I don't know. They may not have been able to develop the tech because they didn't have as much funding. It would be like asking Aston to develop. That's why Aston buys AMG motors now. Yeah. Because they can't spend that much money, but who knows? It's going to be interesting. It's going to be real interesting to watch.
It is. All I can say is if I get one, it would 1,000% be a lease. Like, I think I said this on the last show, but I think this is possibly the first car, the Model 3, that is designed to be disposed of like from new. Like this car, like in like 7 or 8 years, just crush it. Fucking crush it.
Why?
Because there is already, as I was driving it, I simultaneously wanted one, and had like negative nostalgia for it. Like, I can't imagine any scenario in which someone will want a classic Tesla if Tesla is still around selling a new Tesla. You know what I mean?
Because it's a tech thing, so it kind of relies.
Like, who the fuck wants to use an iPhone 1? Like, no, there's no nostalgia for an iPhone 1. There's no nostalgia for old tech. There's some nostalgia for vintage video games in irony, like old Nintendo and Atari, but not really. And I see no opportunity for nostalgia for these.
I agree with that, but I think you'll still have plenty of people that they still own their first gen, second gen Prius because it works and they bought it.
Oh no, not
like,
just
that kind of
not
thing.
keeping
just
it
ownership.
just as a car that works until it doesn't. But I don't really.
Okay, so what you're saying is like when you drive, a manual transmission Vantage, like a new one, and you go, oh man, if it would be cool to have this for 40 years and just like you just start imagining the things you would do with the car for a long time.
Right,
you don't have that with this car.
Right, like. If it really is a tech thing like a phone, the new ones should be like they should be getting better at a pace that the old ones will like pretty much stop working. Like,
right.
There's a decent chance those cars could like brick out at a certain point.
What's interesting about it is like they already have plenty of speed. The shortcomings are the brakes. The steering is pretty good, but it's okay. Like, and the design of the 3 I don't think is great. The S I think is very pretty. So all of those things could get better and the performance is already done. Like that's already
pretty
done.
much.
So everything else should improve. So you're not going to look back at the one that was a little ugly and had kind of a weird dash and steering wheel and go, I kind of missed that one. Yeah. I kind of missed the one that just had like a blank terrace in front of me and then these 2 little buttons, which I do like. They're programmable. That is very nice.
Yeah, and I like the low dash. The low cowl is great.
Yeah.
But I just it seems to me like such a use it and dispose it item. Like to hold it in your hand, there's nothing about it that has a real permanence to it. The way that if you got into like a Bentley, you know what I mean? Or even like if not something so luxurious, like just go older, like an 80s Mercedes, you know what I mean? A boxy Benz or a Lexus LS 400. Like durability does not seem to be a virtue. That's what I'm really boiling this down to. It's techie, it's fast, it's very right now, it's very appliance-like in a lot of ways that a lot of do it, but in the way that it feels, that it is built, that to touch it and use it, it feels like a disposable item, not like an item that is a keeper.
Well, what's interesting is when you're in the car, the things you interact with and touch are, for the most part, it's a much lighter engagement than it is with a Bentley. Like you don't turn a knob to adjust anything. It's all touchscreen.
Right.
So it feels like a phone. It feels like I'll get the next tablet, and the next tablet, and the next tablet.
Yeah, you just get the new one.
You're almost like tactically disconnected from a a lot of the car.
Correct.
And then the steering is electronic. It's pretty good, but it's electronic.
It's video game.
And then the driving is electric, so it doesn't have it. Oh, I love this engine. Or I love this thing. Like you like the
engagement
sensation.
isn't there. Yeah. So it's not. It has its personality. It does have a personality, but it comes through in different ways.
Yeah.
Than a normal car. But the ways that it comes through are ways that like almost will just go to the next one, like your iCloud. You know what I mean? Like it has a personality because it can make farting noises, and because it can like do certain. It has a little fireplace thing, and because it's got the dog mode, and because you name it. You know what I mean? Like when you have an account, the car has an account and you name it. My press car was named Chargy. Like Hannah thought that was really cute. You know what I mean? And she would refer to it as Chargy. And so like it has that personality, but like if I got the new Tesla, all of them things would just come with it. There's none of that is inherent to this Tesla. And
possibly other electric cars could also have that same thing as they turn more into like apps.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like the car itself, it's almost like at the end of the 3-year lease, like just fucking recycle it. Just get rid of it. Take the battery or do whatever, recycle whatever you can recycle. But like this doesn't need to be here anymore. So that's how I kind of felt about it.
Right. I understand. Yeah. There's no like art to it. You know,
none of the materials or anything that you touched was like.
How was the leather in yours? A little thin.
Yeah.
The seats are okay, comfortable. They're not bolstered
fine.
enough. But I remember the leather feeling like a little thin.
It's a little cheap. I mean, I had a pretty loaded up one. It was like $65,000. Mm-hmm. But so the first thing you do is you eliminate the $7,000 for that full self-driving horse shit. You get, from what I gather, you get absolutely nothing of any real use by giving them $7,000 for full self-driving. Like, that shit doesn't drive itself, and it's not gonna. So just keep that money. Autopilot is free. It's included. Every color costs $1,000 except white. All of them.
Wow.
White is free.
The red is nice.
Red is $2,000.
Wow.
Yeah. The gray, just regular gray was a G, and then I had white leather. You can get black or white. White, you couldn't give me one with a white interior.
It would just look dirty really quick.
It would be horrible.
White interior in any car, regardless of manufacturer, is a bad idea.
Although, in fairness, my mom's Jag that I was driving earlier today has this beautiful like camel leather. 3,500 miles in this car, and the seat is already turning like jeans color. The
Wow,
bottom.
really?
I'm like, fucking, what is this about?
Dude, the XC90 has we had a press car on the B-roll launch, and it had a white suede like headliner and pillars, and it looked amazing.
Really?
And touching it was amazing, but you're like, this will be
This is
dirty
gonna be trashed.
before we get out of this car.
Yeah. But so the Model 3 I would lease, it was like 52 grand. Like long range, fairly basic.
Now, do you think it is a $50,000 driving experience?
Yeah, I do. I don't think to sit in it static and touch things, it's $50,000. That's about $40,000. But the refinement of electric and the fact that you're driving with one foot and yeah.
Have you driven an e-Golf?
No, I hear they're fun though. Camisa loves it.
Yeah, you should.
I'm not like one of those folk. I mean, I'm sure everyone knows this, but like I can separate just the experience of any EV from Tesla. Like I love the EV experience; they rule. Like iPace was great, my Volt was great. Like,
how did the Tesla feel different from like the iPace? I know it's a little quicker, but those are both high dollar electric machines.
Well, supercharger network is for one. It also charged a lot faster on my 110. I think I didn't mess with the settings on the chart to charge it because I wasn't really trained on those settings. I just left it how it was. They set it to like shortest battery life, like max juice, like max speed, like to charge as fast as possible. They set it to, and to charge as full as possible, which you can artificially limit for battery longevity, like don't charge above 85% or whatever. I had it charged to 100% because whatever. But I was able to, over a week, keep it charged on just my 110 outlet at home, and then one stop at the supercharger. That's pretty good for a week.
Very good. And that is one of the advantages over, like, I mean, an e-Golf, of course, the Tesla costs more, but the range is much greater.
The supercharger was fast. They're doing
it's real fast,
and they're doing good. Like they put one in front of Bill's in Malibu, and so that's fantastic. I mean, that not just for my lifestyle, but for anyone who goes to Malibu, that's great. And they put one in Santa Monica. They've added a few of them. So
they always put them near a business, and that way you can like it alerts your phone when it's charged to 90% or something. You go get lunch or something, and you come back to it, and they do
a good job with the placements of them in LA, and the experience of the public charging network that Jaguar was using was not good. Of course, if you have a home charger, meh. But it also charged on that 110 a lot faster than the Jag did, so it had some different setting to flow faster. Now I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing. Like, does that mean that Tesla is being way more aggressive with their batteries and that they may not last as long, or does that mean that their technology is better? Like, we're not really sure.
Well, I think part of their advantage over other companies is that their batteries can discharge power at a faster rate than most of them. I think the Taycan probably has a similar setup.
Yeah.
But the benefit of Tesla's battery system over like the i3, which is from Panasonic, is they can discharge power, and that's why they can be so fast. It's the motor, but the motor is only as fast as the power you can send to it. So in the same turn, if it can get power out of the battery really quickly, it can get it in faster. So
too. If that's the case, then even just using the 110 outlet was substantially more effective at home than with the Jag. But yeah, I mean, look, this one was put together better than any of the other ones I've driven. It's now that being said, 4,500 miles, it rattled. There were rattles, so they're not all the way there yet. If I leased it for 3 years, I wouldn't give a shit. I would be happy with the product I received.
Okay.
If I was leasing it for 3 years, I wouldn't buy one, but I would lease one. But I enjoyed it. I did.
Yeah,
in
when I turned
general.
it in, I missed it. I was like, just it's a good experience.
It was.
Yep.
It was a good experience. I for this task, driving around Los Angeles, it's a good car. Yeah. Get in the super chat if you want to talk about some things. What else did I talk about R8 because I drove that last week? New R8
Did not.
New R8. It's a facelift. There's some pictures if you scroll down a bit on my shit. It's a facelift. They've tweaked a few things. I think it looks really nice. There were some mixed reviews from the peanut gallery, but I think it's a classy thing. And Anthony, the product, the Audi R8 product manager who spec'd all those press cars, I think he did a really nice job spec'ing those press cars. The color combos they had out there were fucking dope.
That's we got red, gray, yellow, nice
that
white.
second one, that blue gray.
Oh, it's a blue gray.
It's a blue gray is really
That's
good.
very good.
And so I drove the V10 Performance. There's no more Plus. They changed Plus out for Performance now. So the regular one is 562 horsepower. The Performance is 602 horsepower. They had an opportunity to get the new engine from Europe, which has 615 horsepower, but it has the exhaust filter, so it's quieter. So they chose for North America to leave the older engine in because it's louder.
I agree with that decision.
I agree with that decision too, 1,000%.
And that should also be a lesson to anyone who's trying to eke out like 8 more horsepower, but you blow something out, like, doesn't matter that much. If it doesn't matter to Audi for selling these cars, by the way, while horsepower war is 720, like everyone's seeking horsepower, then you don't need 8 more.
Yeah, they gave up like 12 horsepower to make it louder. It's largely similar to the outgoing car in how it drives and how it behaves. But they've got new wheels and tires, which is nice. They've got a new transmission tune, which is nice. Everything happens in this virtual cockpit. The passenger has no control whatsoever. We kind of wish that the passenger had a small mini control for like skipping tracks and radio volume and stuff like that, like some basics.
Yeah.
Those are really driver only, and it would have been nice to have some passenger involvement in that kind of stuff. But like the real thing for me is like this is going to be the last of the naturally aspirated V10. They did one more facelift. The R8 is going to continue, but they wouldn't say what engine it was going to be in it. Besides, it's not going to be this one. And if it is this one, it's going to be a hybrid. Which I'm not sure if that would be a desirable condition. I don't think it would be, actually. But look, it's really fast. It's 0 to 60 in low threes. All of them, every R8 you can buy now new is over 200 mile an hour car. And they are really, really comfortable. Like, they're 60 centimeters longer than a Huracan, and you get all of that in legroom.
Wow.
Legroom and the room of the shelf behind the seats. And then they're 3 inches taller than a Huracan, which you wouldn't really know until you saw them next to each other. But all 3 of those inches go towards headroom. So like, for me, a Huracan is as cool as a Huracan is, and it is cool. It's just not a comfortable car. Like for me, I can drive a Huracan for maybe 45 minutes or an hour before I have to like get out and walk around and stretch. R8 all day, helmet on, tons of room, no problem. Sit straight up, look straight out, and it just makes it so much more usable. Because like getting in and out of it, like the Huracan, like not only is it lower, but the roof line dips kind of around your head to a very chunky roof pillar that you have to.
It's for that narrow window look, right?
For the
too?
narrow the gun slit window. So you got to like duck your whole head under it to get out. The R8, you move straight out. You don't have to do that silly duck. Which, look, if you're under like 5'10", you probably are like, fucking shut up. But like, this is a big deal. If you're over 6 feet tall, the R8 is your car.
It's a big deal if you have a bad back too, as I've learned. Getting in cars with a low roof like that really sucks. Not that that's a common problem,
bending your neck into that C shape is the worst.
It's interesting how some companies like to give you like a large greenhouse, a feeling of large greenhouse, and some like to give you the more narrow like tank turret. I know tanks aren't a turret, but you know what I'm saying, like closed in, you're more focused out the front, you know. Totally. The windows on the side are narrower, and it's a style thing, and it's also like an experience thing.
Turning in the Tesla this morning, and then I got a Audi Q3, which I didn't really ask for. I'm going on the RS6 launch on Monday, which is cool. The Avant, it's here. I'm very excited. But they're like, do you want a car to drive up? It's in Malibu. And I'm like, not really. And they're like, take a car. And I'm like, okay. And I guess like I got friends in town this weekend, and the Delica's finishing up service still, so I got nothing with a back seat. I was like, just send me anything you got with 4 seats. Like, I don't care. So this molten lava orange Q3 shows up at my house today, and I'm like, whoa, that is something. But I get in it. I get in it, and the shoulder line is so high, and it's got the turret look from the inside of the car. It's a Q3 S line, and I was so surprised because one of the things I really liked about the Tesla is it actually has a pretty nice airy greenhouse. It doesn't translate to good looking cars so much, but it does have a more crossover like greenhouse, especially with the glass roof. It's very bright.
Well, how does this feel compared to like a Macan?
Smaller. Macan is Q5 size. This feels like a 5-door Golf on stilts.
Which is probably is it an MQB platform?
Yeah,
okay, yeah. So it's pretty much what it is.
All I did was pull it into my garage, and I did a 3-point turn, and I was like, MQB. Just got that.
You can get in really easily.
They all feel the same.
It's a good chassis, but I'm just trying to you're pulling up pictures.
Yeah, I don't think that picture really does it justice of how
high
it is. Yeah, and it was emphasized by the fact that the Tesla Model 3 does have a particularly big greenhouse.
It may just be that contrast. You know, this isn't abnormal, but when you get out of something, same as like when you get out of a 911.
Yeah,
like it's just like, wow, I can see everything.
Yeah,
I can plant plants in here. We could play badminton or something.
So much room for activities.
So much room for activities.
And also Tesla had a glass roof and a white leather, so it really was.
The white also makes it feel like a much more spacious place. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What I do like about that center gauge cluster, not to dwell on Model 3 anymore, but a lot of people look at that, no gauges in front, center iPad thing, and go, oh, fucking hell no, never. I could never do that. I got used to that so fast. And not only did I get used to it so fast, because there's no gauges in front of you, you can put the steering wheel wherever your hands are comfortable.
True.
Not wherever your hands are comfortable, but you can also see. Because like for some people, like myself included, it's a big discrepancy.
Yeah,
in
absolutely.
most cars, if I put the steering wheel where my hands are comfortable, half the gauges are blocked. Because I put the steering wheel low and then I'm tall. But in the Tesla, put it where the fuck you want. Ain't blocking shit. It's great. That's one of those things that, like, the seat in that car is like nothing special at all, but the fact that you can do that, it does actually kind of make up for a bunch of it.
Well, because then ergonomically, you're not constrained by your visibility. Yeah. There's been cars, I can't remember which one I drove, but I couldn't see the speedo from 30 to like 80. Like I need to see all those numbers.
That's the range.
That's the range you pretty much exist in, and I couldn't see any of them. Otherwise, I had to have the wheel up high, like I was driving my dad's car.
Yeah, it's not good at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go to the super chat. I bet we got a lot of fucking questions, don't we? We probably do.
Oop, wrong.
There's probably a bunch, right?
There are.
Yeah, there's
all
probably
right.
a lot. I can't read them from here. Should I spin the monitor, or do you want to read? Should I spin the monitor, or do you want to read?
You can spin the monitor. Just be careful about that cable.
Oh shit, you're right.
I have to look.
How's that? That's cool.
That's good. You read the question. I have to look at a thing real quick.
Okay. Zach's doing an email. Kenton says. Kenton Kruchok says obligatory manual rear-wheel drive performance car 15K or under question. Now no one else has to ask it. You're welcome. There you go. Mustang, Camaro, WRX, used Evo, all-wheel drive 335 BMW. Yeah. E90X BMW. I will not have. Thank you, Kenton, because we just made a thing. He just asked it, and now I'm going to ignore everyone else's question who asked it. Because that's a fucking waste of time.
Well, you're not ignoring their question. You've answered it already.
I've answered it already.
Before they even thought you would.
I appreciate everyone's questions. I really do. But we need to I believe it is important that we curate these lightly in order to improve the listening experience, and we don't want to get too repetitive. So thank you, Kenton, for getting that out of the fucking way. Let's see. Oh, Wiley wants it to be a 3-hour show because you've got a 3-hour drive. Oh, we got to go see Fast and Furious musical tonight, brother. It's sold out. They sold it out, which is nice. And Hannah bailed. She was like, "It's really good, but I already done seen it. Don't need to see it twice." So Christian Hand is going to come as my date. Virenfeld says, "What are the pros and cons of moving to New Zealand?" I know you want to, Zach. Well, the pros are JDM cars galore. You don't have to deal with American politics, or really anyone else's, because you're on an island in the middle of nowhere. You have excellent roads, you have excellent food, excellent coffee. It's very pretty. Cons are, I don't think they really just let you move to New Zealand. I think it's very hard to move to New Zealand. I think you might have to marry a New Zealander or something, but I think it's really hard, and the hardness about it is the con. Also, seeing your family in America is like a 20-hour journey. Probably. That's the other one. Besides that, nothing. It's perfect. Evan says, Evan just loves Zach and thinks that I'm okay. Can you scroll down? To Joseph.
Don't make it weird, Evan.
Carl says, what are a car and watch that you think are ridiculous or absurd but still like and want to try out? For cars, let's see. It's absurd. Oh, what's that like W Motors thing from Dubai? Not the Lycan Hypersport, the other one. The one that's like, what's that white thing they had around? It was called the...
Oh, yeah, it was a lot of alphanumeric,
It was
right?
the Dubai cars, bro. W Motors, the Fenner Super Sport. Fenner Super Sport, Fenyr. That's a very ugly car, but apparently has a roof powertrain that's like 800 horsepower, and it seems I would have a go in that. That seems like a good time.
I mean, of course.
And watches for sure. Zach, are you familiar with the Jacob Astronomia?
Jacob the jeweler. I know Jacob the jeweler.
You know Jacob the jeweler. He makes he makes watches.
Yeah, I thought he just like threw diamonds on watches.
Well, no, he has his own watch line now. So can you search for the Jacob Astronomia? And the Jacob Astronomia is one of the most absurd watches you could buy at any price. They're around $1 million, and
What?
they look like fish bowls that you put on your wrist. They are 3-dimensional sculptures that sort of revolve like a solar system around a central axis. If you get a video on Instagram, if you go to Jacob's Instagram, I follow him on Instagram. They have videos of these things in action. They're simultaneously heinous and amazing, and like they're just absurd.
What's
it's Jacob and Co. And there's you might find some animations. There you go.
Oh my god!
It's just this is the roulette. And they're different themes, right? So this is the roulette wheel one.
This is a watch that has a roulette wheel in it, but it looks like it's half an inch deep.
Oh look, you can actually spin the roulette wheel. You can play roulette with it.
And there's like planets orbiting gears inside this watch.
Right, and the planets are cut from like diamonds and sapphires and shit. So it's four axis. Go back to the video. It's 4 axis that spin around, or 4 items. Imagine a big plus spinning. One, you have a big spinning diamond that represents the Earth. The other is a big spinning diamond that represents the moon. On one is the entire clock mechanism that shows the time. That spins around. And then on the 4th one, you have a tourbillon, which is the power mechanism on a spinning cage in order to balance out all the gravitational forces. It's just excess. You don't really need it. But and then these all move around a central axis like the Disneyland teacup ride. And then this particular one, as a little fun goof, has a built-in roulette wheel. But they have all kinds of other ones that have like dragons in them and shit. It's fucking nuts. All right, we can make that go away. But that's
ridiculous.
That's the most absurd watch, I think. If you scroll down on the Instagram, there's some other like themed ones that they have.
What?
Yeah. Oh, so go to the middle one right there. The one, yeah, that one. So that one, this one has a double tourbillon.
What?
So imagine, here's the car equivalent of how this watch works. Imagine you had a car, right? that had one engine, okay, but 2 transmissions that worked in harmony to balance each other out. And then those transmissions went to one drive wheel. Right? So imagine a car with one engine, 2 transmissions, and then it was one wheel drive. That is what they have built here.
The little tourbillons look like
like
with
those
like contact.
rides.
It's like the ride where
the rides you go in the middle of.
You
and
stand
like
in there
spin
like
around.
make an X with your arms, and then all of a sudden it spins around.
Yeah, like a
360
gyroscope type ride. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a watch that they make that has 4 tourbillons. So imagine a car with one engine, 4 transmissions, and then one wheel drive.
How many do you have to use before you can travel through to another dimension like contact?
The double one, it doesn't actually do anything extra. Like it doesn't tell time better. It's just like people will spend more money on a watch that has a bunch of visibly moving shit on it.
Right, because
Yeah.
it's more money.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Ethan A says, when is the next garage video going up? Me and Armin are shooting it next Thursday. It's been a bitch. I haven't been able to shoot it because things have been partially finished. So the things I want to show progress on, there haven't been enough visual changes yet to really show the progress. Like, I want to film the lifts, but I don't want to film the lifts until they install the fucking trays on them for the cars. And so they're doing like the wiring and like the control boxes and all this other stuff that's like not that visually cool. And so like when they bring the big trays in that the cars are going to sit on, they start attaching those to the lifts and like having one that when we have fucking power where I can test one to go up and down. Like that's what I want a video to be of. And so
You could just make the hipster garage where you have people with pulleys and they pull and
Like
they lift the cars up and down.
pilgrims.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, sir. Which car? Okay.
if the power dies, there's a manual jack. And what you have to do is you couldn't use it to jack cars up, but what you would have to do is use it to jack the trays off of the locks. And so because
Right.
it's like a mechanical lift, they have a lock, right? So you would jack the car off the lock, and then you could, gravity release it.
Could
if
you
the
do
power-
it with all 4 cars?
Yes, you can.
Wow.
But like you wouldn't pull the handle. It's not a 1-to-1. Like you go click 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 like 50 times to move it like an inch.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The next video is going up in a few weeks. I just explained why. Anonymity. Oh, that's fun. Thanks to you and John Ward, I started my watch collection. There you go. A new old stock Soma diver. All right. Question number 2. 300 horsepower BRZ or new Supra? 300 horsepower
Supra,
BRZ.
so that'd probably be more fun based on what you guys have said.
BRZ. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't buy a new Supra. How was the JDM mag I sent? Good. Thank you very much. Sent some old Japanese magazines.
Cool.
Appreciate it. Keith Stone said, how close is your shop to Hollywood superstars Nicolas Cage and Angelina Jolie? I don't know. Doesn't Nicolas Cage live in New Orleans?
He had houses everywhere. He definitely has a residence here now.
He lives somewhere. I don't know.
I think he has an apartment he shares with somebody in LA.
I don't think
because
he
ran out of
probably
money.
doesn't live in Playa. Eat Sleep Drive. Oh yeah, shout out to Eat Sleep Drive. He took a tour of West Side Collector Car Storage. Appreciate it. And he left us some Ohio beers, which are at my house, not at this studio. Sorry. Daniel says, is a $30,000 DeLorean a good idea? Maybe even a daily. Okay. So my immediate reaction is not necessarily that it's a bad idea. Well, not for a daily. There are people, and I know one of them personally. There are people who daily drive DeLoreans in LA. They are not the kind of people who know what a good sports car is. You know what I mean? Like, these aren't people who are going, should I daily a DeLorean or should I daily like an 89 911? Like, they're not doing that. It's like their dream was to have a DeLorean. Their dream. And they bought a driver quality DeLorean and they started driving it. And like, they are fine. Like, I'm like, really? Does it work? Is it okay? And they're all like, yeah, it's fine. And they drive it. One of them works at Mattel, where Hannah used to work, and Daly's a DeLorean.
You can daily with the engine it has in it though. Didn't you have problems with yours? The wiring's a little weird.
I mean, no, not once. Not like it was restored, and so after the restoration, the first 1,000 miles, some little things go wrong. But no, there were no problems with it. It wasn't fun to drive. Like it was not a fun to drive car. So like I would be kind of disappointed with the experience to daily it.
But if all you're looking for is comfort, because it rode really nice.
It rode well.
Nice.
The
and it's
brakes
comfortable.
were horrible. It was really the brakes. The engine was fine. The brakes were really bad. That bummed me out because there was nothing you could do about it. Like the wheels were so small that you just couldn't get better brake hardware. And like some company in England made like a big brake kit. It's like $7,000, and the guys at DMC were like, it kind of works. Like I don't know. So, like, a $30,000 DeLorean is going to be at the upper end of DeLoreans, not the top, but upper end. Let's assume that for that money, you're getting a $30,000 to me gets you a mechanically sorted car that's ready to drive, but has 20 to 40,000 miles on it. That's
probably an imperfect interior,
and probably an imperfect interior, maybe some cracking leather or something like that. That's where I see a $30,000 car. But a $30,000 car should work. Like that car shouldn't really need anything to be able to be driven every day. That's my opinion. Daniel says, thoughts on Drive Tribe? I have no thoughts on Drive Tribe. It was a thing. It apparently still is a thing. From what I heard, a lot of people lost a lot of money.
Yep.
Okay, Kyle says, the Model 3 has the same 60-0 braking distance as the 1990 BMW 5 Series. Oh, it's not so great. It's not great braking distance. That's probably the slow one, the 150 feet. Yeah. Question, have I done a walkthrough of the one-take gear? No.
That'd be pretty boring.
It would be it's more like an boring Instagram post.
Yeah, it really is.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, it's 3 GoPros, 2 of which are on suction cups, and 1 of which is on a clamp mount, and then a Zoom H4n audio recorder, also on a suction cup, mounted on the windshield, and that is all.
There's so many vloggers nowadays that you could go on the internet and just search like best video camera setup for X.
Yeah.
And someone has done a post about it.
About comparing all the different ones.
We did fuck up back in the day when we made a video about like, here's how we film cars with real cameras, and then other companies started stealing our shot.
A lot of people stole our ideas when we decided to share them with people for free. That was dumb. That being said, no, there's no secret. It's GoPros and a Zoom audio recorder, and then things to mount them. Like I shoot all my own drive-bys for one takes. Like I just have clamp mounts, and I mount the cameras to road signs, and then I drive by a couple times. Like it's very, very easy. There's no secret to it. Good Pelican case. Get a good Pelican case, and that doesn't use the pick and pull foam. Because that shit falls apart.
Correct.
Mr. Evo to you says, what US cities have press cars, good cost of living, and good roads? That's a good question. San Francisco and LA are too expensive. What's DTW? Detroit has no good roads.
Denver has press cars, but the fleet is much smaller than anything like on the coasts.
Miami,
it's much smaller.
Miami has some stuff.
No good roads, though.
But no good roads. Texas?
Pretty straightish.
I think
right?
Austin. I think there is some kind of access in the Texas.
There is.
Between Houston, Dallas, and Austin.
We got a press car in Austin.
There is some kind of access, and like Atlanta. Maybe.
Atlanta, I think, has a couple of the manufacturers there. Yeah. And that has the Georgia roads are pretty good. There's some back roads there and some tracks.
And also, you're not going to like this, but New Jersey. New Jersey is close enough to New York that you have the New York press fleet access, as is Connecticut. You know what I mean? Southern Connecticut and northern New Jersey both get bad raps, but are both in reality quite nice places to live.
True.
And are close enough to good roads. Where, like, also northern Westchester, New York, like, is amazing roads and is quite affordable compared to New York City. Yeah.
Someone, yeah.
Oh, Alan C says, Not sure. Oh, not sure about the Veloster N in America, but Pirelli makes a custom compound for the i30N. Okay, so possible Veloster N custom compound. Good to know. Thank you, Alan. Sean Smith says, I have a Giulia QV and I find it wrong for daily driving traffic. I agree. The brakes are super grabby and lacking engagement for the weekend. Should I switch to lease a Model 3 long range and then buy a 997 Carrera S manual? I think that's a good move. If you have room for both of those cars, your motoring experience in general be improved by commuting in the Model 3 and taking the Porsche out on the weekends.
Yeah.
I agree with your decision. If you can swing... No, I agree with your decision. If you could swing it for a 997-2, a little bit more money, might be worthwhile, or maybe go air-cooled. But if that's what you want, I think... Given what you told us, I think I'm with you. Chuma the Puma. I have a 2014 BMW 435, modded and tuned, 380 wheel horsepower. I need a set of street tires. Should I just get the Michelins, or should I save $200 for Bridgestone pole positions? I live in Dallas, highway runs, country back roads. I don't know a lot about the pole positions.
Neither do I.
I honestly don't. I think that might be what came on my Focus RS. And if so, I think the sidewall is a little stiffer. I want to help you, but I don't remember. I just don't. I don't drive on enough different tires on, it's not like I have one car and I go through 6 different sets of tires. If every time I drive on a set of tires, it's on a different car.
Right.
I don't even remember the last time I drove on pole positions. I'm sorry. $200 is a lot of money, but on a BMW that's modded, to save $200,
$50 a corner.
Here's the thing. Michelin's, I think, have a treadwear warranty. I don't know if the Bridgestones do. So you might spend a little more on the Michelin's, but if you wear them out, you might get yourself a free set. If you go through the treadwear within the warranty period, you get new tires.
Wow.
That's what that is. That's what that means.
As long as they know you're not doing burnouts or something.
No. But if you go, but Pilot's Super Sports and 4S's last a long time. Mm-hmm. You should get 25,000 miles easy out of a set of, or 30,000 miles out of a set of Super Sports.
I would go to TireRack.com and look up the reviews, or actually they have really good data on noise and wet handling for all their tires. So the PS4s, when I got them, were quieter on the road and felt softer in a good way than the Conti Sport Contact, whatever I was coming off of. And that was a big thing. If you're commuting in it, road noise gets really annoying over a long period of time.
Yeah. Sorry I can't be more helpful, but I am a fan of the hashtag just get the Michelins. Ryukachu says, how long until the, quote, Tesla swap eclipses the LS swap for moderately expensive but super adaptable performance? Well, couple things. One, I'm not a wrench myself, but one of the things that people who are wrenches tell me is that LSs are good because they're simple. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how simple a Tesla swap is. I don't know how intimidated people are by battery packs and motors and big fucking cables and voltage and stuff like that. Maybe people are not at all intimidated by that kind of stuff. Maybe people are intimidated by that kind of stuff. I am massively intimidated by electricity.
Me too. Yeah, me too.
So even if I knew how to wrench, you wouldn't really catch me fucking around with a battery pack from a Tesla.
I think it'll be a little bit. It needs the trickle out effect of you have the early astronauts that are doing it now, Tesla Sandtruck guy. He's not a professional electrician like EV West, but he read enough and bought one of their control modules and was able to link batteries together and put the motor in.
Yeah.
But he is an early adapter of that, and he needs to write a lot of DIY things on forums, and then people have to read those, and then more and more people have to understand that it's doable. And also, one of the challenges I think is that the Teslas get updated all the time. Mm-hmm. So there need to be, I don't know if the aftermarket has a solution for that. Do the motors always work with the software they put in 2019, but there was a software update in 2021. If you swap it in, does it still work okay? Does it still work appropriately? I agree completely. And I do believe that there is a burgeoning market for shops to do this. I think you will see
The guy around the corner from me, at the new place, the guy around the corner from me is opening an EV conversion shop.
Ooh.
EV West has long lists. The Z Electric is doing really well. I think the home tinkering will still pretty much remain engines and gasoline for the most part
for a while.
But I think there's an opportunity for some people who are good at the Tesla swaps or whatever. I think there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
But were you here when John Ward came on and talked about the difficulties with his electric derelict that he was doing? It was very, very difficult because there was constant updates, it needed a lot of attention. And he was even like, even though I think the customer for that car doesn't like live in LA, like he doesn't want to like send it there because it's like it needs to be like looked after like all the time.
Wow.
It seemed like next time he's on, we'll have to remember to ask him about it again. But I think it was the last time he was on the show. It was kind of an undertaking.
Okay.
Ramon says, how did you like Jojo Rabbit? I liked it a lot. Did you see Jojo Rabbit yet?
No, not yet.
I think it's an excellent piece of satire that I do recommend seeing.
Yeah, definitely want to.
Yeah, and it did not offend me as a Jew at all. Justin says, Zach, quit your other jobs and podcast full time. That's a good one. And thank you for the donation.
Yeah.
Brad said, if I had to buy a WRX or STI, what generation, model year would it be, and how would you modify it, if at all? 07 Hawkeye for me.
For sure, same.
And how would I modify it? With just, what's the basics? Like 350 at the wheels, and then...
if you do stage 2 with the tune, you're like over 300 wheel, and that way it'll work and it won't explode. Over 400 horsepower, those tend to kind of have problems. And then they're too soft, and so you want to do springs and sway bars and get some camber.
There you go. That's what you would do. Kenton says, oh yeah, I knew it would work. Thank you. Maddie says, Maddie18972 says, recommendations for a rally cross car for $5,000 to $6,000. Matrix XRS, yes.
Ooh, yeah.
Matrix X, does the Matrix XRS have the 2ZZ engine?
Yeah, I think
Then
that's a good one.
Yes, you want that. Matrix XRS FT motherfucking W.
Super reliable.
What the fuck is that? Oh, spec tires. The BFG Mud Terrain TAKM was made for just the previous gen Wrangler Rubicon. Only came in that one stock size and is now discontinued. That's a good one. Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. That's good. That's the leader in the cheapest car with a spec tire.
Wow.
Truck is a good twist to that one.
Yeah, that is.
That probably was that word. I bet there's like a fucking Frontier, a Nissan Frontier or Xterra or something that has a spec tire.
Did you
like
see
that.
the Frontier that Larry Chen saw at SEMA?
No, is it a good Frontier?
I thought it looked really good.
Really? There's a good Frontier left?
It was modded, but I thought it was
anything turned into a fucking Baja truck.
But I just thought like the body kit they chose fit the lines of it and just looked really cool.
I can't see. Is there a grill on that at all?
Yeah, it's just black. It's just all blacked out. Looks cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. That truck has no appeal for me.
Oh man, I would definitely buy that.
Well, the Baja one, but not the Frontier. Let's see. Skylar says, would you rather have a new GT500 or a Corvette C8?
I haven't driven the 500.
I haven't either. I'm tempted to say C8 because I'm kind of over front engine cars in general. And with the GT500 being automatic, I'd rather have a 350R than a 500. Just having not driven it, but I will hold judgment until driving it. I imagine I'll drive it sooner rather than later. Next week's a big week. Next week I'm driving RS6 and Taken.
Oh.
So I'm excited for Taken. That'll be great. Thomas says, have you driven an Alpine A110? I have not. I would love to. I don't know who their press people are. I'll have to ask somebody, but next time I go to Europe, I would love to wrangle one up. It seems like really fun.
All the reviews are very, very, very positive for that car.
It seems similar to like a Vora.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
Or like a better made Alpha 4C.
Probably that. I don't know. Everyone just talks about how light it is and how the compliance of the suspension is perfect.
Justin says, I'm ready to replace my grocery getting Tiguan. Would a used Macan S be worth the premium over an Audi Q5? I already have a 911 as the fun car. So, I don't... we have to clarify because is it a used Macan S over a new Q5 or a used Macan S over a used Q5? And if so, what is the generation of Q5? Because there's been two, and the second one is substantially better than the first. My mom, everyone I know who owns either a Macan or a Q5 loves it. My mom has an SQ5, she loves it. She had a regular Q5 before that, loved it. My friend Nick has a Macan, loves it. Sarah has a Macan, loves it. I don't know what the premium is over a Q5. I do know that having been to the factory that builds the Macan, and you listen to the tour, and he's devoted a significant portion of the tour to talking about things that they do differently that make the Macan more expensive than the Q5, such as more frequent quality track checks, more tighter tolerances with their suppliers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like the Audi, they pull off a car off the assembly line like every 2 days. In Porsche, they pull 2 a day off the assembly line
to check them.
Yeah,
wow.
Like they devote more resources to doing more checks throughout the build process. So like it's not. Maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit, but one of the things that they said, and they were quite proud of, was that, one of the reasons the Macan is so expensive compared to the Volkswagen and the Audi is because of how many more resources are devoted to checking for perfection along the way. Okay, I'll buy that. I mean, he said it next to a room in the factory with 100 cars in it, ready to be inspected. You know what I mean? So it wasn't complete. It wasn't like it was made up.
And also the Macan S. If he's looking at Macan S and regular Q5, they're going to have a little bit different driving experience. Like
the regular Q5 is a 4-cylinder. The Macan S is a twin turbo 6.
Stuff. Right.
Yeah. Macans are fun. It's the Macan is the most fun crossover, and if you get a Macan S with a Cobb tune, it's basically as fast as the GTS. Pretty much.
If you like your 911 and you want to have more of that kind of a little bit of that flavor every day, you'd probably want the Macan S.
Ryan says, how many automotive journalists are true auto enthusiasts, and how many can't drive better than the average Joe?
Well, how do you do? I think he's defining auto enthusiasts as like hot shoes or really good drivers.
Well, I think most are real car enthusiasts.
Yeah, you wouldn't do this if you weren't.
It's not a good job.
No.
No one's in it for the money. It's not that. If you don't like cars and talking about cars and driving cars and meeting the people who make cars and other people who drive cars too, this is a shit job. You wouldn't last very long.
Yes.
Tom Morningstar is not a car enthusiast, and he is no longer here.
Correct.
Because after 5.5 years, he was like, I would never want to film a car ever again.
And he likes driving.
Yeah.
In fact, he likes driving and racing, but yeah.
Yeah. Now, you don't have to be a hot shoe driver to be a car enthusiast. And if you're an automotive journalist, it is substantially more important to be a good writer than to be a good driver. It really is. There's a lot of jobs in this business that are not setting lap times or being the guy who does track tests.
Remember Brett Burke when he came on the show? He was like, I am not the person to run hot laps in a McLaren. And he admitted,
but he gets
he's a great writer.
gigs.
He gets great gigs. He gets good cars.
Yeah.
Because he can tell the story.
His lifestyle is ill. He's having fun. He's enjoying his shit. But how many can't drive better than the average Joe? A bunch. A bunch are not good drivers, but they're usually pretty okay writers, and sometimes they're even nice people. In general, like the younger generation, like values being a good driver a little more. Right. So a lot of the folks that are like under 40 have some competence behind the wheel. Most of them aren't terrible. A lot of the older guys who write for some local paper or whatever, like, just on the circuit, and they just don't really care or whatever. And there's some younger people that can't drive either, but like, it's all right. It's not that bad.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
Yeah. There's probably 10 people you really want to read like a track test from. Maybe 20. I'll be generous and say 20. And we all pretty much know who they are at this point. We don't have to go through the list. Beyond that, there's a lot of nice people, so we try not to give them too much crap. If you're a nice person and not a great driver, but you know the rules of the racetrack, you're fine in my book.
And you can get better at driving. It's usually hard for someone to get better at being nice.
Yeah, definitely. If you're annoying at cocktail hour, I don't give a fuck how good of a driver you are. A bunch of people saying thank you. Nick says, favorite car that someone you knew from high school had. Let's see.
There's a kid in my high school who had a 66 Nova with like a crate motor. Like he had a nice he had the means to have this car because he had one of the only muscle cars in the crew that had like paint on it for one, clear coat for another, it brakes, and his car was fast as all hell because it had a built crate motor, whereas the rest of us were like trying to turn something that was pretty slow and crappy into something that was quick just with basic bolt-ons. But his car was sick.
I went to a pretty like ritzy school, so like, I mean, for as far as favorite, I mean, it was always like, I was actually never envious of other. I grew up pretty wealthy, but not super spoiled. I don't think. Maybe I was, but I try not to be super spoiled. And my dad like made me work to get my car. They didn't just give me a car, and. So I was really proud of my car, and I was like really proud of like Larry's car. Like I went to high school with Larry in Casilla, and so Larry's car like was like not expensive, but it was so clean. He was his
Mustang, right?
His Mustang. It was fucking so clean.
Wasn't it pretty fast too?
It was pretty
like,
fast,
pretty built.
but yeah, and he did some other things with our friend Jimmy to it, and like, but it was really, really spanking fucking clean. And I liked our Mustangs parked up front together. Like that was awesome. But like the nicest car that like anyone had, like people didn't have like interesting nice cars. Like it's not like a 66 Nova that someone had means and built. It was like 3 Series BMWs, Eddie Bauer Explorers, Jeep Grand Cherokees, and Tahoes, and early A4s.
The hand-me-down special. Maybe
hand-me-down or brand new in some cases, yeah. The Connecticut girls,
right?
The blonde horseback riders from Connecticut, they all got Eddie Bauer Explorers, Grand Cherokees, or Tahoes new. A lot of other hand-me-down Explorers and Tahoes, hand-me-down Saab 9000 Aeros, a lot of those. Those were really popular, but nothing. Me and Larry had the most interesting cars.
Yeah.
Uli D said, favorite Sopranos episode besides the Pine Barrens one. And fun trivia about the show. I mean, I don't have a lot of fun trivia about the show. I just was a big fan of the show. I don't know about if I have another specific. It's hard for me to break them down into individual episodes because I've binged the entire seasons like so many times that I'm not sure I can pull apart storylines. The one where Ralph ends up getting killed because he kills the stripper. She's not a hooah, that one. I'm a big fan of this. She's not a hooah. She was a hooah. That one where hooer came from.
Hooer.
Yeah, where Ralphie started hooer. That was one of my favorite episodes, I think. And the first episode, the pilot, where Tony takes Christopher's Lexus and runs over the guy. Oh, that's a great scene. That's like Scorsese. It's fucking good.
I love when people add syllables to words like that.
Yeah, hooer. Oh, we were listening. You're listening to Kevin Smith on Joe Rogan, right? He was like, Jason Mewes just like invented some words. He's like, those are funny words. Like, can I put those words on film and other people might think
what is a snoochie boochie?
What exactly is a snoogans? Yo, I texted Joe and I was like, homie, after listening to that, I was like, Kevin Smith was on Joe Rogan last week and it was quite interesting, but I was as usual, but I texted Joe and I was like, homie, I don't ask for much, but you need to hold one of those 45% Kevin Smith joints for me for when I get there. And he's like, no problem, I got you.
Wait, what was it?
Kevin Smith has a weed company now because of course he does. It's like Jay and Silent Bob's Ganja. Like, imagine watching Clerks for the first time being like, 25 years, those two, the actors playing them, are going to sell weed legally as those characters. And they do.
Wow.
But apparently he has some indica that's 45%. Because he's partnered with Caviar Gold. Do you know Caviar Gold?
Rapper?
No, Caviar Gold.
Sounds like it.
Not a rapper. Caviar Gold is the weed company that they dunk their joints in hash oil and then roll them in keef.
Jesus.
So they look like they're like frosty. So he's got this joint that's 45% THC. And I'm like, Joe, hook your brother up.
Wow.
So Joe's hooking it up.
That's ridiculous.
Oh, someone else chimed in about the pole positions. They're stiffer. Yeah, the pole position is a stiffer sidewall tire. So, Jordan Klein says, Thank you. Just thank you.
Thank you.
Zach, write the Pagani article and cough up change for your next spine injection. Are you going to write a Pagani article?
No,
come from?
I don't know. I think he just wants me to drive a Pagani. I agree. I will. And it's only going to be driven on a surface that's very smooth, so I think it'll be fine.
Is this the end?
This is the end.
Okay, great. We're going to call the show after this anyway. That's perfect. Hour and a half. I love it. John Walco says, Matt and Zack, any advice for someone who wants to get into automotive journalism? I will get to that, and I'll answer the second part first, which is, ever been to Colorado, and what did you think of it? Second favorite state.
Yep, totally.
Second to California, Colorado's my favorite state.
Yeah, love it, miss it.
Fucking beautiful. I try and go there at least once a year if I can. Although the existence and convenience of Mammoth has sure put a dent in my desire to go to Colorado.
Yeah, I think just the overall landscape there is pretty.
Oh, it is.
You know?
No, it is. It is. But
accessibility to the mountains is closer.
But I need an activity. So
gotcha.
You know. Advice for someone who wants to get into journalism. The best advice, I think, is often the simplest, and it's often the one that people don't want to do and or they overlook, which is, if you want to write, start fucking writing. If you want to make videos, start fucking making videos. If you want to do a podcast, start doing a podcast. Like, literally, the thing you want to do, just start. Like, even if nobody reads it, like, just start. Like, go to WordPress or Squarespace and, like, make up a blog, like, make up a site, like, and even if no one really sees it in the beginning, maybe you meet someone who wants to see it, and now you can share with them your catalog of work, and at the very least, it'll get you in the mindset of creating. Because with me and Zach, like, we crank out content every day, you know, on the Smoking Tire, but like, if we don't, like, nothing's gonna happen. Like, no one's going to fire us. No one is gonna call and yell at us if I go, I'm not going to work today, I'm not making a video today. Like, nothing will happen. It just no money will get made. But like, every single thing that happens in the Smoking Tire happens because Zach or I wake up in the morning and go, I am going to do this thing today because this thing furthers my goals or my career or my bank account or whatever it is. But like, this is automotive journalism in general is 1000% self-started and self-motivated. Even if you have a job, like a staff job at a road and track or a staff job at a jalopnik or a staff job, whatever, like, you still pretty much have to come up with your own things to write about. And even if you're assigned a story, you still have to come up with what you're going to say that makes it good and different and uniquely you. So, my real advice is to just start, and every single step along the way, well, it's like, well, what if I don't have a website? Make one. What if I don't have cars? Find them. What if I don't have this? Figure it out. Like, literally, like, if you find someone that you like, if it's a writer that you like or a video producer that you like or whatever, and emulate them until you figure out how to do the thing, and then change it slightly or significantly to make it yours. But like, it's totally not democratic, but it's an open plan. Like, YouTube is open. The internet is open. You can create your own niche of the world, and you should be prepared to be a slave to either yourself or to someone else for a little while. Like, that's sucky capitalism, I understand, but like, it might as well be you. Like, I recommend it's you and not somebody else. But like, just go. The answer is just go. And if you're worried that you don't have the skills to do that, figure out how to get those skills and keep working backwards until you see a goal, figure out what it takes for that person to do their job well, and then work your way backwards until you get to where you are. And then start your way up that ladder of steps. If it's videos, learn Adobe Premiere Pro. That's the advice. And be an editor. And
there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube for any of that stuff you want to do.
Yeah, we probably don't need to show the fucking Squarespace or WordPress screen anymore. But that's it. That's what you do. You just go. And if you stop, well, then you're done. I mean, really, like there's nothing at all forcing me to write or film or record anything. Like, I could just stop and I would lose money, but like, you know what I mean? Like, no boss is telling me to do it. So that's how it's got to be for you. Just go. And then don't stop until you're dead, really. Is that your phone blowing up or mine?
Mine.
Your phone is blowing up?
I
Do you
gotta
have to do permit things?
Yep.
All right. We got to go. That's the show. We'll see you guys later. If you're with us live next week, we're blowing out shows next week. We got like 6 shows next week. We got Freddie on Monday. Tavarish is Monday. We got John Klein and Colin Woodard are coming in together. We've got Amber Blonigan of GI Motorsport is coming in, finally.
Cool.
And then we've got somebody else. Vinny's going to do his SEMA wrap up. We didn't even talk about SEMA on this because I don't really give a shit. But Vinny was there, so he'll have the goods.
Cool.
And yeah, that's all next week. So have a good weekend, everybody. And the Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and something to say. Bye.